Call to order the February 15, 2023 Pollyant Trailway Management Council meeting. Time is 3 o'clock. I'd like to pay respects to the flag and do an invocation after that, and then I'm going to introduce our new council member. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we pray for those families that lost families and friends during the shooting at Michigan State. Those who are still in the hospital, we pray for rapid recovery. We pray for those families in East Palestine, Ohio, that are victims of the train derailment. Now please help us keep the trail and continue to be a beam of light for those that travel on it. In the Lord's name we pray, amen.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Matt Pfeiffer to the council. Matt has replaced Donnie Steele. He's also currently an Oregon Township trustee. So I'd just like to go down the dais here and have everybody introduce themselves to Matt if you haven't already introduced yourself. So we'll start on the end with Vice Chair Pfeiffer.
We've met already, Ed Brakefield, trustee, Addison Township.
Mike McDonald, village president and village board.
I'm Curtis Wright, I'm Township Clerk of Oxford Township.
John Old, trustee, Oxford Township.
And Joe Medor, Village of Oxford manager.
Aaron Watley, Oregon Township. Kevin Green, I live in Oxford and I'm a citizen rep.
And then Clay Murray, volunteer manager.
Famous.
All right. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you
Good
very
to have you. Okay, with that, we will do a roll call. Secretary McDonald.
Ed Brakefield.
Here.
Bruce Pearson. He's absent, excused. Matt Pfeiffer. Here. Aaron Watley.
Here.
Curtis Wright.
Here.
Jonathan Nold.
Here.
Mike McDonald. Yes, here. Village of Oxford.
Here.
Joe Medor.
Here.
Note for the record that trail manager Linda Moran and citizen representative Kevin Green are also here.
Okay, very good. We do have a quorum, so we will continue in our meeting. First item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda, today's agenda dated February 15, 2023.
Motion on the floor, second to the motion.
Second.
Second, okay, we have a motion by Councilor Knoll, second by Councilor Medor to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries on to the consent agenda. Approval of bills, or excuse me, approval of the meeting minutes for January 18th, approval of bills to be paid, receive and file financial reports, and the trail manager report. Any questions on the bills, minutes?
I'll make that motion, we approve the consent agenda. Approval of the January 18th, 2023 meeting minutes, treasurer's report, approval of bills to be paid, $4,996.98, and receive and file the financial reports for January 2023 and the trail manager report for February 2023.
Second.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Brakefield, second by Councilor Knoll to approve the consent agenda. Any further questions on that consent agenda? Hearing none, roll call please on that. Secretary McDonald.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes?
Matt Pfeiffer.
Yes.
Aaron Watley.
Yes.
Curtis Wright.
Yes.
Jonathan Nold.
Yes.
Mike McDonald, yes. Joe Medor.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Motion carries. On to public comment. Any public comment at this time?
Yeah, Mr. Nicholas.
Can you introduce yourself to the council if you would please?
Hello, my name is Nicholas Henning. I'm here to speak on behalf of Loom Canvas Company. We have a location in Oxford on Glassby Street out in the kind of like industrial complex back there next to Tool Tech. We've been there since April and we're looking for an opportunity to kind of give back to the community that's been so gracious to allow us to plant our feet here. And we've come up with this idea to do a volunteer opportunity to clean up the trail there, starting right by the ice cream store and the Little Caesars there, that crosswalk there. Having a few of us depart each direction and just kind of clean up the trails get it looking nice. This is something that means a lot to me. I've done quite a few trail cleanups in the Lansing area with Friends of the River Trail and Rivertown Adventures. Things that these have always been very important to me. I've always loved Michigan trail systems. I grew up with my parents taking me out on hikes every weekend, things like that. It's always been very important to me. And yeah, we just really like to get out there. Our company offers us volunteer hours. We'd like to use those to really help you guys clean up that trail that's stretched there on the 21st of next month. Right as the snow's melting, there's usually a lot of goodies underneath the snow to get a hold of. So that's really our plan so far, is to meet at about noon that day and go from there. I know we discussed a little bit about whether we'd be supplying trash bags, gloves, things like that. I know as far as gloves go, we can supply them. I'm in a little bit of a in-between general managers for my location right now, so getting the trash bags approved to come from my company has been a little bit of a I don't know yet. But I do know we can at least supply gloves, things like that to help us with the cleanup. Worst case scenario, I will supply the trash bags myself.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further public comment? Okay, hearing none, citizen rep report. Kevin, anything to report?
I have no report.
No report on that. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. We have the trail manager independent contractor agreement. Trail manager Moran and I had sent down and presented you in your packet a updated independent contractor agreement. Just a summary on this, it's virtually the same agreement. The changes are the proposed payments. It's a 2-year agreement. And then you'll see that the first year proposed payment is $30,000 for the first year. Second year would be $32,400. The current salary right now for the manager is $26,000. One other change that I did put in on the scope of work, which was on item number 7. For the WAM, we know that it's not here, it doesn't plan to come back, but I did put that little statement in there, subject to WAM program availability. So if for some reason it changes its mind, the county does, it's still on the scope of work. But other than that, it's pretty much the same agreement that you've seen. The previous one was reviewed by our attorney. I did not send it to the attorney this time. If that's something council feels they want to do for a final look for approval, I would need a motion for that. Also on the last page, you'll see the updated insurance policy that will be effective on the 19th of March. So any questions from council or for trail manager Moran? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the independent contract agreement between Linda Moran Services LLC and the Pollyanna Trailway Management Council as presented and authorized to the chairman to sign the independent contractor agreement on behalf of the Pollyanna Trail Management Council.
A second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Knoll, second by Councilor Wiley to approve the independent contractor agreement. Any further questions? Trail manager Moran, any comments, questions? Okay. All right. Anything from council? Okay. If you call the roll, please, Secretary McDonald.
Okay, on the motion to approve the agreement, Matt Pfeiffer,
Yes.
Aaron Watley,
Yes?
Curtis Wright,
Yes.
Jonathan Knoll,
Yes.
Mike McDonald, yes, Joe Madore,
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, the motion carries. Linda, you're up for 2 more years. All right, on to item 8B. I put this in the packet because we want to keep council apprised of what's going on. It's a website committee report. Last month, we approved for Shoemaker Technology Group to perform some enhancements to the website. And I appointed Secretary McDonald, Councilor Watley, and also Vice Chair Brakefield to a committee, so I don't know who wants to speak on their behalf. I'm giving the rest of the council an update where we're at, where we need to go next, and when we can actually indicate to our current website administrator that we no longer need their services. So I'll open the floor up to one of the 3 of you to go ahead and let us know what's going on.
Sure.
Aaron, Ed, did you?
Yeah, we had a good meeting. It was an opportunity for all of us to go through what we liked, what we didn't like. Kind of ran through the existing website. Everyone brought up some valid concerns, issues that we'd like to see changed. I believe the next step, they're going to be drafting up kind of a mock-up website, and then let us know when to meet back. If I missed anything, good to it. But it's going well, so.
We haven't really heard anything beyond that at this point, so.
So we don't know when.
Is there any timing talked about as to when they'd have something back to you?
Linda might be able to address that, but originally, the agreement called for, I think, didn't he say it would take them at least 30 days to meet with us and then put something together? And then we should have an opportunity to look at it at that point. And I suppose you'd say you could approve it to be brought back for final approval, or?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, I'm just waiting for committee. Once committee is ready to present, then we move forward, but it's basically your decision when you want to bring that up. Vice Chair Brightfield, did you have anything?
I just think that right now, the way I'm sitting, between Linda and Aaron and Mike, I think that's enough people to be on the committee, just the three,
Oh, sure.
before we get too heavy. So I'd like to just kind of fill out of the committee on that, on the website.
So you're requesting to take a step back?
Take off, to be taken off the committee, if you
All
don't
right,
mind.
so probably would like.
They're handling it very well.
Okay.
They're kind of the point men to go to it, and so basically between the three and the contractor, I think it's running well.
Okay, I'll send it out to the trail manager, Maureen. Did you want to speak on the website or what your feelings are?
Well, everything's going well. We had the first meeting with the committee. And I spoke with Kyle. We did change the passwords. He does have access to our old website. They are restructuring it. And with the help of our dear Kristen and a couple of our other trail users, Kip being one of them, we compiled quite a nice little collection of photographs. So if anybody has any photographs that we'd like to see on the website, preferably for seasons, let me know, send them to me. We're going to do like a little Dropbox so Kyle can pick and choose the ones that represent the 4 seasons on the trail. So we've been working on that the last couple of weeks. So, yeah.
I had one of Matt after like a 15-mile run.
I want 2 of those.
I have a stupid amount of these photos in my collection, but I'll try and find some more.
When I went back and looked at my photos, all my photos are before and after disaster pictures. So they're all work, there's nothing bright and shiny in sunrises and sunsets. It's all, this is a hole before, this is a hole after. This is a beaver, this is a dead beaver. They're not good pictures.
I'll send you some.
All right, thanks, Matt.
All right, so what I'd like to do then, at Vice Chair Brightfield's request, just to put a motion into the record that he would like to, I guess, I don't know if resigns the word.
Resign from it. Yeah.
Some way that we have something in the record so that whoever picks this up X amount of years from now, which.
But the logic behind that is too many people making suggestions, you just drag it down slower and slower. And if you get to the point, and you've got a couple of point men right there that can handle it, so.
Well, let me back that up then. Is there anybody that would like to take Mr. Brightfield's spot? Or do you feel that 2 people are adequate on the committee?
3,
They don't count.
you know?
All right, I'm hearing nothing, so,
I make a motion to accept Mr. Breakfield's resignation from the committee.
I'll second.
okay. Motion by Councilor Madore, second by Councilor Knoll to accept the resignation of Vice Chair Brightfield from the website committee. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, so we will just wait on Councilor Watley and Secretary McDonald's updates going forward. So if there's something going forward and you want this on whatever agenda, just let me know or Linda know. On to culvert replacement. In your packet, board members, is the ongoing saga of replacing the culvert in Lorraine Township. Linda made valiant efforts to try to get this resolved. She had items in place. For good or bad, she contacted Eagle. And Eagle said, depending on what it is, you will need a permit or not a permit. And based on what it takes to go through that, you can have a minor permit for $100 fee and an individual permit for $500. Whichever way you go, it's gonna take time, money. And then with the culvert, it's gotta be 1.5 times the bank full, whatever that is. And then with that, you need an engineer design, which requires a site plan, cross-section. You can't perch the culvert, it's gotta be level, it's gotta have dimensions on it, and it has to be 20% below the stream bed. So with that, then they replied back to me that we're not gonna do anything for now, so what I'd like to do is get some authorization from council to purchase some material and just backfill the banks where it's eroded. You see some photos in your packet. I don't know if it's become worse
Yes,
than what it was.
yes.
So I think at a minimum, council should consider at least authorizing that material. And if that happens, Linda, what's the process to get this back up to somewhat of a, not an issue as far as safety?
The safety, basically what we're gonna have to do is come in with some probably 23 AA limestone and fill the edge of the bank back up. We're not filling in where the culvert sticks out. The culvert sticks out and is collapsed beyond that. So we're not filling the culvert area. The culvert will still be there. We're just filling it to the edge of the trail where the culvert sticks out.
So with
Just so it's not a hole. If somebody's running by there or, you know, walking a horse or anything out there, you know, I just don't want anybody to fall into that hole. It's, we're just gonna backfill it. So basically, we're gonna have somebody come out. I have a couple of guys with skid steers or a tractor, Kubota. We'll have the material delivered on site. We'll put it along the edge. We'll pack it down and we'll just stabilize it best we can. Hopefully, when we get the trail resurfaced, we can get some culvert repairs done at the same time.
Is this photo where the culvert is or not?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Is this-
If you go where the cone's at, it's out, I marked it with the metal stake. It sticks out probably 3 feet beyond where the trail edge used to be, that isn't there anymore.
Okay.
You know, with us trying to fix it last year, it just kind of made that wound a little bigger.
Mhm.
But the beavers did stabilize it. Hasn't eroded much this year.
Councilor Knoll?
So what you're saying is the amount of material we would put in there would not go into the culvert,
Correct.
steel culvert itself?
Correct.
And we don't have a
It would
beaver
stop.
trap?
Right, so we don't have to pull a permit or anything, we're just reinforcing where the trail is right now. We're not reaching into the water, we're not going into wetlands, we are just stabilizing the edge. So,
Councilor Madore?
Is there any need for like some riprap or some larger chunks to be on there to keep it from continuing, do you think? Or
I'm thinking
too
we
steep?
probably throw some riprap in there.
And is it steep enough where you may want to drive a couple stakes in the ground for warning devices at all? Or,
No, I don't think it's that steep, if, you know.
I mean, eroding?
Yeah, if we do, we'll probably throw some stakes in there to hold it, put in some riprap, maybe if we need to, a couple of cinder blocks, but it's not really, it's not that bad. I mean, it'll stabilize quite nicely with some rock. 23 AA should do it pretty well.
Secretary McDonald and Councilor Knoll.
Linda, was this Mr. Primo aware that it's a DNR parcel? Or is it in Lake Orion?
It's
Is
in
it
Lake Orion. It's actually an Orion parcel that borders DNR property on the east side. So, we
What's
have to
your word
work
now?
with, the what?
It's a DNR parcel that borders Orion property.
Right, right.
My only point being is that this is as much, they should have as much of an interest in this as we do,
Mhm.
seeing that it's fixed right.
Right.
So I don't understand why.
We just have to pull a permit. We have to pull an Eagle permit, and that's where the time and the expense comes in. We have to hire engineering, which if we just fix it right now, and then when we have the trail resurfaced, at the time of the trail resurfacing and the infrastructure, we can include that in with any grants. So it's not tens to $50,000 coming out of our pocket. It's $1,000 until we get the resurfacing project underway.
Is that your request, $1,000?
Approximately, it probably will be less, you know, I always go high. If I can find a skid steer or backhoe cheap, free, it'll be, you know, a lot less. If I have to rent one, it's gonna be $1,000.
Counselor Pfeiffer?
So obviously, new, catching up, read through a lot of documents, but I walk by this pretty regularly, so I'm very familiar with the spot you're talking about. Well, first thought when you said about a tractor, your friend Mr. Gwynn would probably be a good phone call, because he brags about how close you guys are. And I know he's got a tractor too, so that might be an option. I'm just picturing that being packed in and again, not my expertise, sounds like it's yours, I don't know if you've done this type of repair before. What's your confidence level that that can hold without something more aggressive or something more substantial?
Yeah, it should not be a problem. The base is there. If we have to, we'll put in a couple of metal rods and some cinder block to hold it. We did the exact same repair a little further south, where we have the beaver bathroom fence, and that actually
So it's-
is fantastic. We haven't had an issue.
Okay, so you have experience in doing this
Oh, yeah.
before?
Oh,
You
yeah.
referenced the resurfacing, and that's a little bit out of my, is that something that's actually on, it's coming?
You betcha. Kristen, I have more on it. We've actually applied for the Ralph C. Wilson grant for monies to send out for designs. And so we're waiting for that. We will be applying for the Sparks grant, $1 million for that. And that should be, well, come on, Kristen, $1 million for the second round of the Sparks grants. And then we will also be applying for the Oakland County Parks improvements.
Yep.
The parks. We'll be applying for that, and with generous donations from each of our communities, we are sitting on about what are we sitting on? About 300, 400,000? Ish.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, about 300,000 or 400,000 cash to match any of these grants that come through.
So it's in process,
It's
there's
in
no
process.
plans, nothing locked in,
Not in
but
the
the
next-
effort is ongoing?
2 years? Every 2 years?
So if we hear back from the Ralph Wilson Legacy Grant, we can begin the design process. That usually takes about a year. So best case scenario, we could probably get some plans out 2024, construction in 2025, best case. I mean, that's kind of pushing it, because there's a lot of federal guidelines that we need to follow for that.
Excellent, thank you.
But we're working on it.
Good.
All right, council, there's a request for some resurfacing material. Are you inclined to want to approve that? And if you are, how much? There's a motion on the packet.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion. I move
Councilman Noel.
to authorize Trail Manager Linda Moran to purchase resurfacing material in the amount of not to exceed $1,000 for the purpose of restabilizing the edge of the Pollyanna Trail in Orion Township. This $1,000 amount will be expensed to account 298-853-932-000, maintenance and ground.
Support.
Okay, motion by Councilor Noel, second by Councilor Pfeiffer to approve the expenditure for resurfacing material. Any further questions? Hearing none, roll call, please, Secretary McDonald.
Aaron Watley,
Yes.
Curtis Wright,
Yes.
Jonathan Noel,
Yes.
Mike McDonald, yes. Joe Madore,
Yes.
Ed Brakefield,
Yes.
Pat Pfeiffer,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Okay, on to unfinished business, last item, 8D as in dog, Sparks Grant application status. I put this in here because maybe that can give Councilor Pfeiffer a little more idea maybe on some of the other grants that aren't in here. But the reason I wanted that in there is because the first round was awarded, and just to give you some notes on that, $14.2 million was awarded, 21 recipients received money, which included Lapeer County Pollyanna Trail for $287,300. 460 people applied, and if they were awarded all that money they applied for, in total to be $280 million. So you can see the competition that we're potentially up against to try to get this, because as I understand, Kristen can elaborate on that, but we're like the tier 2 of the priority list. There's a higher priority that they were going to look at before the trail, but Councilor Pfeiffer, this is Kristen Wilfang. She works for Oakland County. Oh, you introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm Kristen Wilfang with Oakland County in the Economic Development Department. And I have the pleasure of assisting the Pollyant Trail Management Council on many things. This time around on grant applications. So I think the Spark grant is very competitive. This is a DNR grant. It's relatively new. It's using the state ARPA dollars. And there's no match requirements, which I think is why you're seeing so many applications coming in. Fewer than 5% of the projects were funded in the first round. There's 3 rounds total, so the second and third rounds will be announced in 2023. For those applications that were not approved in the first round, they'll carry over into the second round and the third round for consideration. My sneaking suspicion is they want some more shovel-ready projects just because of the accelerated timelines. All of the funding needs to be under contract by December 31st of 2024, and all of the money has to be spent by 2026. And so, I think with this project for the resurfacing that the Pollyant Trail is looking at, we still fit within those timelines. So I think it's probably good to take a look at round 2. I don't know that I have a strong feeling of success for that grant application, but there are other grants out there. We mentioned Oakland County Community Grant Program through Oakland County Parks. That's millage funding taken from the 10-year millage. They give it back to communities. So there's a trail program specifically for that grant. There's actually 2 pieces of that. There's a development design and then construction. So we would probably be applying for the design piece. Again, just to get those plans a little bit further along for construction, get those cost estimates in place so we have a really good understanding of how much to ask for construction. For the Spark grant, getting back to that, I was hoping someone could help. So I think Joe Ferrari from Oxford Township was applying for the unique entity identifier number.
The same number, he's got it.
He does have it?
He's got that.
Okay, excellent. So that is one of the requirements for the grant. It's a unique identifier through the federal government. And I think, from my understanding, it takes quite a bit of paperwork and quite a bit of time to get through that. So that's a good thing. I'll need to also work with Linda the next couple of weeks on public engagement. That is a very big piece of the Spark grant. So we'll have to set up some meetings. So we'll need some help from the council, as to locations and, if there's a good group of folks that we can help publicize this to. And then we'll also need a resolution for the grant application from this body. So we can certainly put that together for you.
Thought you were done.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
sure.
so you mentioned the township applying for the SAM.gov or the SAM number. Will they be the beneficiary and the applicant then, or will that number be able to be used on the Pollyant Trail as the applicant?
So those are all questions that we need to work through with the DNR, because there's also the Sigma number, which is
State of Michigan, right?
the number that you need for the DNR. So I assume those entities need to match. So that is a good question.
That
So
would
it's
think
Oxford
the Pollyant
Township.
Trail has that.
No, I don't
Can't
think so.
qualify for that. It probably doesn't have a state of Michigan Sigma treasury number.
We have a Sam's number, the township does.
Yes, but
specifically.
not the trail, I'm saying,
Not
the
the
council. So more than likely, the applicant will probably have to be the township, be my guess.
Those are things we need to chat with the DNR about. All very good questions that I just don't have answers to, but I know that having the same number is a good thing to do at this point, so.
For those communities that already use CPG fund, probably already have it in place.
Mhm.
So that's.
Yes, but it does
Sounds
also
like they
take
got
the
their time.
township out of, that counts as one of their Spark applications. And I think you can only submit, there's a limit, I think there might be a limit of 2 or 3, I don't know, so just keep that in mind.
Councilor Noel,
If one of the townships, such as Oxford, were to apply for that, will they be able to use that money in the other townships for the full 16 miles of the trail?
I believe it can be multi-jurisdictional, so I think it can span across the trail.
So it won't be specific.
I don't believe so. No, but as long as we put that in the grant application, then it's for the entire length of the trail in all 5 communities.
Then for the public engagements, would that have to be done on behalf of the township applying, or can it be done on behalf of the Pollyant Trail?
I think it could be co-sponsored,
Okay.
so I think we could definitely publicize it that way. We can also do online surveys. I know that that's been very popular in the past when we've done master plan work as well. So that's a great way to reach a broader audience.
When is the deadline to apply for round two?
They have not even
They haven't
announced it
announced
yet,
it.
so
Okay.
I can't answer that for you.
Okay, all right. Is there some way of getting like a timeline? I know the date's not there, but as far as what requirements will be done even without the dates? You know, resolution to be approved, the
Yep,
public engagements, those types of things that,
Once-
like a theoretical
Yep.
timeline.
Yep, once they have that date announced, then I can kind of backtrack and work backwards from that. But I would like to get those public engagement sessions scheduled sooner rather than later, just to give it some time, you know, especially if we do an online survey. Like to keep those open for a few weeks, just to get some good responses, so I'll work with them.
So you expecting maybe in the next 2 months, they'll announce the deadline? Don't know.
I wish I knew. Yep, I know the Oakland County Parks Grant, that should be available hopefully sometime in February, March timeframe, maybe even April. I keep checking the website,
All right.
so.
Me too.
Yep. Yep. I know they had to shift it back a little bit later from last year's timeframe, so.
No, with this Sparks grant too, match is not required, but suggested probably. What amount do you think should be matched, if any, on our end?
Yep, so if we're combining both the design and the construction dollars, I mean, we're gonna have to come up with a rough estimate as to what we think we could put forth. We can also put pending applications on there.
All right.
So, for example, if we apply for the Transportation Alternatives Program through MDOT and SEMCOG, we might be able to just put that as a line item in there as matching funds, but put pending after it, as that'll be a future funding source.
Okay, because we have allocated ARPA funding throughout the
Yep.
council, so we do have some funds at least to consider contributing.
Yep, we can also put that in this match.
All right, Linda, go ahead.
The Pollyant Trail, Lapeer, did receive $287,000. Their grant was, I think through the Road Commission of Lapeer County was their fiduciary, a 51.
So their TAP grant is required to have an Act 51 agency, so that's cities, villages, or road commissions. Townships can apply, but they have to have a sponsoring agency, so most townships usually go through the road commissions. So Pollyant Trail Lapeer was through the Lapeer County Road Commission.
The Lapeer County Road Commission. They also earmarked, I'm sorry?
I don't know about the Spark grant though, who was the applicant on that?
They said it was them, the Lapeer County Road Commission.
Oh, the Road
Yeah,
Commission
the
was
Road
the
Commission, the Lapeer was their 51 agent and applied on their behalf. And their request was for maintenance resurfacing 1.3 miles of trail from the Pollyant Trail to General Squires Park, but also some additional maintenance and things along the trail. So it wasn't just earmarked for one location. There are several locations that they did earmark for the money. So it wasn't, didn't have to all be spent in one spot. So that's what I know from
So
there.
the plan isn't to start at Boardman Road and go north with the funding, it's sporadic for the.
No, they're gonna start in Dryden, and then they're gonna work backwards, so.
Does that include putting the crusher fine down, or it will still be kind of like a single track?
No, they're gonna try and put the crushed limestone down, so
But it'll only cover a small portion of
they're
it.
very small. They're, I mean, $287,000 sounds like a lot. That's nothing, basically. Yeah, I don't know.
Anything else on Spark grant update? If not, thanks again, Kristen.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, we're going to move on to new business, 2023-2024 MMRMA insurance policy renewal. Keith Pryor was kind enough to come here. Keith is here with us today to answer any questions or comments you have on the policy.
Hello, Aaron. How you doing? I was like, I know that face.
Every golf course in Michigan.
So I don't know, Keith, if you want to give any type of overview before we dive into council, but you're welcome to give us some insight.
As far as any changes that are going on at MMRMA, Not really, so coverage-wise, everything's the same. Were a couple of things I wanted to point out. And basically, because typically, people in your position ask, these are probably the two of the most common questions I get asked. Number one, are you guys covered? Basically, like a board of directors at a private company, when they are making decisions, they want to know, wait a minute, I know we have general liability, but am I covered if something happens based on a decision we've made? That's one, and I'm going to answer both of these in the same, because I brought out a particular piece of the coverage document. The other question I get asked is volunteers. Are they covered, and are we covered if they do something? And now I'm going to read a little bit from the actual policy. The following are, while acting within the scope of their official duties or operations on behalf of the member, which is the Trailway Commission, any former or present employee, I'm not going to get into the rest because it doesn't matter here, but definition of an employee means any person who performs official duties on behalf of a member municipal corporation, is compensated directly by the member, and is subject to the member's direction and control. It also means all volunteers, elected officials, and members of the governing body, and any person officially appointed by the members to any boards or commissions. So the $5 million worth of coverage that the Pollyant Trailway Management Council has extends to each one of you as individuals, because you are elected or appointed to these positions, and it also extends to any volunteers. And so from a liability standpoint, those people are covered, and you are covered both individually, and Pollyant Trailway Management Council is covered if a volunteer does something that causes some kind of liability concern, and you and or the Trailway gets sued. As I said, those are two of the more common questions I get asked by boards like yourself. The one thing I did want to point out, I'll try not to get too long-winded here. The MMRMA is not an insurance company. It is a compilation of governmental units within the state of Michigan that have banded together for lack of a better term, a self-insurance association. When private insurance companies make money, they send dividends to their stockholders. Our members, Orion Township for one, Pollyant Trailway Management Council, Paint Creek, the city of Grand Rapids, the city of Royal Oak, those are members. So those are the owners of the program. And when there is excess net assets, and that's determined by the actuaries, do we have more money than we need to pay all the claims that are out there, and even claims that we don't know, and we've got to report that to the Michigan Insurance Bureau. When there are excess assets, those are returned to the members. And in the case of Pollyant Trailway Management Council, I know the premium for this year went up $174 to $3,149. After that renewal is processed, the Pollyant Trailway Management Council gets back in this distribution $1,031. So the net is $2,000, a little over $2,000 in premium. Mr. Wright, I think at some point you had asked me, what's a breakdown?
Yeah, my concern, you get charged $3,149. What are the numbers that you use to make that number up?
Okay, I don't, but I negotiate with the underwriters. But, and it's approximately $1,700 for property insurance. That's the bathroom and some contents, and whether they're, and contents can move around. So the property insurance is about $1,700. General liability is about $600, and the public officials liability, which is that directors and officers that I referred to, is about $860. Sir?
So when you say property, bathrooms, obviously all the equipment and stuff too then?
Any property you own. Yeah, and it doesn't have,
Real and personal.
and it doesn't have to be in a particular spot. If you own it, or it's under long-term lease and you're responsible for it, it's then covered. Any other questions?
I do have some questions myself.
Okay.
Give me that. The edits that were in there, is there a chance to get the whole section 2? Because it was just piecemealed in?
I'm sorry.
There's a section 2 in here showing the edits that was in, that you forwarded to me. Well, what I'm looking at is that it goes from section A, B, and then it jumps to some other sections. There's one just for our file. Is that something that's not relevant to the following trail?
I'm not sure.
Section 2 covered property, number of buildings and personal property. Like section A is numbers of building. Then it jumps to section E, debris removal.
Oh, you talking about this schedule? Is that
I'm
what-
talking about where the edits come in, coverage edits. Like that.
Oh.
So what I'm wondering is that, do we have a clean copy that has everything from A through whatever the alphabet is?
Yes, actually, that entire document will be sent to you and Linda.
Okay, all right,
Electronically,
all right, good,
easier to research.
good.
And by the way, I did want to bring up one other thing. You guys are talking about the committee, looking at websites and whatnot. There is automatic coverage within the annual monitor, and so far, and this has been going on 7 years, they are not charging members for it, but they have included, under their form, it's called data breach. In the insurance world, it's referred to as cyber liability.
Mhm.
So, if anyone is using, let's say they go on your website, they want to pay a fee, buy something, and they're using credit cards, and your system gets hacked into, and that individual gets a hold of someone's credit card, that is covered under the data breach liability, up to $2 million,
But there's a deductible,
$25,000.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's pretty hefty for us.
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised on how fast that goes, because typically if there's a data breach, you've got to bring in specialized attorneys, they have to send out letters. It goes fast.
Yeah. Some other things, what's the purpose of the performance bond? That was in the packet.
Oh, so the section that I just had pointed out.
It's $1 million of coverage.
Right. On your item 9A,
Yes.
page 3 of 7 is a table of limits of some of the coverages. Blanket employee fidelity, meaning if any employee, and that includes anyone that I just read, if they embezzle money, we're covered up to the money.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, all of those 22 lines of coverage on that particular sheet, they're all automatic. So if I start deleting any of them, we're not going to save any money. It's a package, if you will.
Then on page 4, those are deductible coverage.
So on page 4, That's all the data breach.
That's David, okay.
Yes. On page 2, you'll see deductibles. We have no deductibles for any liability and $1,000 for property.
And we just utilized the $1,000 for some damage in one of our bridges.
Yes,
So that worked out really well.
yes.
From our standpoint of reimbursement, paying the contractor, so
Mhm.
very, very well done. Now, we're gonna be putting in a vault restroom later this year.
Mhm.
Does that affect the cost of coverage for next year?
What's the value?
Councilor Wiley, 80,000?
46,000.
Okay.
Okay, based on these premiums, it'll probably double the property premium. It's probably another $1,000
Okay.
in premium for another $45,000 of property coverage.
So we should look for additional costs of the premium 24, 25 then?
Mhm.
What you're telling us, okay. So council's aware of that. That's all the questions I have. Council, any more questions? Okay. If not, motion's in order to approve the insurance policy.
I'd like to make that motion.
Go ahead, Vice Chair Brightfield.
Keith, thank you very much for making a great presentation, detailed. I'd like to make a motion to approve the renewal of the Polly and Trailway Management Council insurance policy with Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority for the period of February 25th, 2023 through February 25th, 2024 in the amount of $3,149. Authorize the chairman to sign the coverage proposal on behalf of Polly and Trailway Management. This $3,149 amount to be expended on account number, expense on account number 298-853-955.000, insurance Polly and Trail.
A second.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Brightfield, second by Councilor Wiley to approve the 2023-2024 MMRA insurance policy renewal. Any further questions, council? Questions for Mr. Potter? Linda, you have a question or a comment?
Well, I just want to make clarification. Now, a group such as Loom that would come out and pick up trash, they're covered under our policy
They are.
as a volunteer?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, do I suggest, but that's all it is a suggestion. When we have a group, keep in mind that volunteers here are covered if they're volunteering to Polly and Trailway Management Council. If it's somebody who's volunteering to another organization and that organization's bringing them in,
Yeah.
technically would they be covered here? Sure. But would I suggest you take a look and see that they have general liability coverage? Yes. Does it have to be a lot? No.
Because a lot of people will come out and help on the trail.
Sure.
But they, they're just focused, they don't have insurance.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why are we gonna pay for insurance to
Well,
come,
yeah.
to help you on the trail?
Yeah.
You know?
When we have those type of individual volunteers, do we have them sign anything?
Oh, yes, a whole harmless.
That's fine.
Okay,
It's fine.
just clarifying.
Yeah. It's fine.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'm gonna call the motion. Secretary McDonald, if you call the roll, please.
Curtis Wright,
Yes.
Jonathan Rowe,
Yes.
Mike McDonald, yes. Joe Madore.
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Matt Pfeiffer. Yes. Aaron Watley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Keith, I have a signed sheet. Would you like the one or would you like the whole thing? Please.
And I'll electronically send it back to you.
Okay. If you need something else, let us know. Thanks for
Yeah, okay.
coming out.
And if in the meantime, or at any time, anyone has any questions, Mr. Wright has my number, Linda has my number, Karen's got my number. Sorry I didn't answer your call. I
That's
was
all right. We'll
in
be
and out of
talking.
airports that day, and it was about midnight, and I'm like, oh my God, I missed this. Thank you very much for your time.
Councilor
I
Ball.
have a question. In the example that you gave, that we had volunteers come in under the umbrella of a company,
Mhm.
and they come onto the trail and work, and there's a situation. We're covered. Do we go back on the company to have them cover their employees or their group that was here?
I would suggest that, as I explained to Linda, that we ask that organization, show us that you've got general liability insurance. Okay? And the only reason I suggest that is that if there is a loss, my suggestion is under the thought of the more losses I can keep off of your loss fund, the better your premiums are long-term. So if it can be through another company, yes. In the meantime, if it's not, and we're having volunteers sign that they're volunteering to Poly and Trailway, then we're covered here.
And I have two questions
Mhm.
for Linda. One, do we have individuals sign that?
Yes.
Do you know that? And what do we do with the corporations such as Loom that just came in and suggested they would like to help?
We basically, when they come out, we have each individual sign a hold harmless. That's all we've ever done, is just a hold harmless. We've never had the actual parent company or the organization sign anything. They just, when the people come out, they sign a hold
Is that
harmless.
good for you?
Different, yeah,
Yeah.
different organizations handle it differently.
Yeah.
As long as we are getting the individuals to acknowledge their standing here, it's fine.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
But clarification though, on events, like when you have runs and
Yeah.
that, you do have the organization
The organization does
show their
provide insurance.
certificate of insurance.
Right.
and
This is
that
just when
counts.
they're acting like under my guidance, you know, like I'm working as the contractor, and I have a group to come out, and we're, you know, picking up garbage and that sort of thing. They're working as a volunteer, which I have insurance too that covers the volunteers, so if I screw up, I have coverage too that
Yeah.
covers last is first.
And I don't think in anything at least I've seen coming out here, any of those organizations that have come in, we're not asking them for anything that they don't already have in some exorbitant amount of limit of coverage or anything like that.
I don't think it's ever been a problem.
No.
You've asked for it.
Right.
Counselor Pfeiffer.
It sounds like though, just to clarify, for a best practice would be, we'll use Loom as an example.
Sure.
And thank you for being here. They should just provide a copy of their general liability to
It's a
Linda with
certificate of
those,
insurance, Linda's used to getting it.
with those signed documents. So is that our practice then?
Yes,
So that's just a safety net, basically,
That's
or
all.
potentially cost savings, so it doesn't, and you probably would never get pushback, I would get on that. so.
never have.
Okay.
And a lot of times if we have just, you know, a group of moms or kids come out and they want to do something, we don't have insurance, and then they would be covered under our insurance. I also carry my own insurance, so if something should happen, I basically get sued first.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, anything further for Keith? Last call. All right,
All
Keith,
right.
thanks again.
Hold on to your hats going up, right?
I know.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Okay, item 9B, under new business, appointment of Pollyant Trail Citizen Representative. Kevin Green has been gracious enough to serve as our citizen rep for how long, Kevin?
I think I came on in 2014.
2014, so basically 10 years he's been our citizen rep. So I didn't know if Kevin's getting tired of serving as a citizen rep or not, but I volunteered him already for going forward. So Kevin, if that's something that you still want to continue,
It's nice to be volunteering.
we'll
I'll make a motion. Don't
No,
want to talk.
I would just like to say that I feel it's a privilege to serve. One of the reasons I moved to this area, we moved back to the state, was because of the trails that are around here and the open space and that. And in what little I've been able to do, I hope I provide some input. I'm not always sure I'm providing what the council wants in terms of input from citizens, because I'm not really allied with any specific groups or anything. And I tell you what I hear and I feel, and a lot of times I don't have a report because I don't have anything that I'm hearing out there. And if that serves your purpose, then fine, and I'm happy to serve for another year. But you might, in the future, you know, there might be a different direction you might want to go to get more input. So it's, but I do feel privileged, and I thank the council for letting me serve. So I've enjoyed working with Linda on some projects, and it's been fun.
It's always fun. Always have a good time.
Vice Chair Brakefield.
I think Kevin has done an outstanding job, so I would like to move to reappoint Kevin Green as a non-voting citizen at large to the Pollyant Trail Management Council for a period for a 2-year term expiring April 17th, 2025.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Brakefield, second by Councilor Knoll, to approve Kevin Green for another 2-year term as a citizen rep to the Pollyant Trail. Any further questions or comments? As far as I know, Kevin, if council wanted anything different, then they would hopefully speak up and say, we'd like you to do this or that, so I'm telling you, things are going all right with it. If not,
No, I mean, I would just like to say thank you. It's great, you know, trying to get more citizens involved in all levels of our communities is a great asset. So thank you for serving for so long and being willing to be re-volunteered to serve again.
all right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Kevin, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for serving. On to item 9C, trail event request, administrative approval. Trail manager Moran and I bounced this around and finally said we'll present it in front of council to see if this is something that they would be interested in letting the trail manager and the chairperson, whoever that might be, to approve events administratively that are nonprofit. So if that's something that council is okay with, we can do that. If you want to still continue to have the applicant come to get formal approval for the event, that's okay too. Just we threw it out there because council previously approved 5 events to be done administratively. Dragon Dash, Snow Dash, Strawberry Festival, Run Michigan Cheap. What's the last one, Linda?
Oxford Women's Club?
Yeah, close enough. So,
I have a
Councilman
question. So I remember going through this, watching as I intermittently attend, how you put the special event application process in, and then how the for-profits are, of course, looked upon differently than they should be, like the one you just approved, and we're in the process of looking at the turkey trot. Just because it's nonprofit though doesn't mean it's small. Some of these can still be quite large, right?
Yeah.
So that leaves a lot of it on your guys' shoulders to administer and oversee all that stuff. I mean, apparently you guys are comfortable taking on all of that.
Yeah, it's, you know.
But it's basically the application, the whole harmless agreement, and making sure the insurances are in place. Is there anything more of that? I mean, you see them before I do.
Right. Typically, we haven't had any events yet that are large enough. They pretty much have it dialed in. Run Michigan Cheap, if they need police, they go to the police. They get the police out to direct traffic. They have safety guards at road crossings. They've got it dialed in pretty good. We've never had an issue. You know, Snow Dash, you know, and the Dragon Dash in Orion, every year they've got it dialed in. There's never been a problem.
The newbies are what I think. Are
Well, the
puzzling.
newbies, I think we should still always bring to council, but the returning ones that we've had, you know, running continually, that are repeaters.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
when they have it down, that helps.
they have it down, we've never had an issue. The new guys need to come to council, they need to know who we are, they need to know what we're doing, they need to understand the process.
So that option would be up, if this goes through, they do approve the ones that you find and you're comfortable with. Outside of that, you would probably bring it to council,
Yes.
even if it might be a nonprofit.
Right.
I kind of heard conflicting there. It's almost like if it's brand new, they're coming anyway. So
Yeah.
I think 7 years, like,
Yeah.
you know
Okay.
what? Let's just leave the process the way it is and move forward accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay, I understand how easier it is sometimes to not overcomplicate it, bring it to council and then guys on timelines and stuff.
Like the Dragon Dash and the Snow Dash and the Strawberry Festival, they have it every year. Run Cheap Michigan, he's been going now 5 years? Well, COVID, you know.
COVID kicked that back.
Yeah, he even ran during COVID.
Mm.
So,
COVID.
and they run a great organization, so, you know, those guys are pretty good.
Councilor Watley.
So I would agree with your statements there. Which I'm fine with however you want to structure it. One of the benefits of bringing groups, whether profit or nonprofit, into here is there's community members. So we have communities, Village, Oxford, Leonard, Addison. These are all voting members on the board that like to watch out for their own community. So what might affect Leonard differently than it might affect Orion, they'll at least be able to bring in their opinions and what their plan is, and then they can get comments from that community. I'm fine either way, but, you know, it's up to you guys. I just found it very beneficial when we do have large groups that, in Orion, it could, you know, it could run smoother, but then if you have 1 million people running through downtown Leonard, you know, and they don't necessarily have the resources like we would down in Orion, then it's a completely different situation up there, so, and, that's it, you know, that might would provide some good input on that, so.
Yeah, so based on what I'm hearing, the feedback is, well, we'll just leave the process as it is, move forward, and then, and that way there, those first timers can come and introduce themselves to council can ask the questions, and then, if council's so inclined to, the next time they apply, to say, go ahead, trail manager and chairperson, approve this administratively, we'll go from there. So we'll just leave that, no action on that item?
Would we want to add any of these event requests that haven't been put on the administrative approval list to that list now, Linda or Curtis?
Well, I guess, my opinion is that we'll bring it back in March if you want us to. And I guess feed us what you think, council, are the ones that could be approved administratively. Because some of these, like Wade Sullivan, he might be coming back regular now for a Memorial ride, you know. But on the other hand, I think having these people appear before council sends a message to them and to us that they're interested in wanting to be here, and we want to make sure they're approved accordingly based upon the council, not just administratively.
Like Wade Sullivan, I'd like to have them, if they do come back for a second year, I'd like to have them come into the council. I would like to have them, you know, the Strawberry Festival, you know, we've been running it for ever. Snow Dash, Drag Dash, you know, we know how it's run. We're intimately involved, you know, we participate in these activities. I think anything outside the perimeter, maybe have to bring them in, at least for a while.
Okay.
Except for the ones we've already prior approved.
Because that's what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
okay, we presented to say, okay, bring this in, but I'm hearing that it's better to go ahead and just keep the process the same. I don't know, Secretary McDonald and Matt Bull list, if you feel there's anything that should be pulled up to automatically authorize administratively, but I'll leave that to your recommendation.
I'll leave it up to you and the chair and the trail manager. If you want to come back with some suggested automatic reviews by,
Administrative.
yeah, administrative approval, thank you.
All right.
I'd be open to considering that. I do agree with all the points that have been made about, I think it's good for us to see the first time, at the very least, have either the promoter or the organization come in and talk to us, and we can find out more about them and what's going on.
Yeah, more I've heard the feedback here is that I think we'll just proceed. Event comes up, you'll see it on the agenda and give you the chance to approve it. Go from there. So we'll take no action on that agenda item. We'll move on to item 9D, hat purchase request. Linda wanted to purchase some hats. She wanted to have 25 purchased. And I said, well, you're $12.50 over the limit, so it has to go to council. I said, can you do 24? And she said, if the price goes up. So we're gonna go for 25 at $312.50 if council's so inclined to move forward. Do we have any left, Linda, in stock?
We do have a few, yeah, but hats seem to be the big sellers.
Okay. All right, and we sell those for how much? 20?
20, yeah.
Okay. All right,
Make a
council.
motion.
Yeah,
Hey,
go ahead.
comment. Terrible hats, but I'll approve the motion.
What? Why don't you like my hats?
But if that's what you
I'll
like,
second
that's what you like.
Listen, just because you have a big head doesn't mean.
They're terrible.
Oh,
What?
I move to authorize the Pollyant Trail Manager, Linda Moran, to purchase 25 hats in the amount of $312.50 from Tool Sport and Sign Company. This $312.50 amount to be expensed to 298-853-962.000 miscellaneous.
I'll second the motion for the terrible hats.
Okay, motion by Councilor Wiley, second by Councilor Knoll to approve the hat purchase Comment on that, is there other designs council would like to see besides what Steve
Why are they
purchased?
terrible?
Oh, I was just,
It's a
This is
trucker hat?
plain.
they're very thick, like, I picture the type of user that's using the trail, either the running, biking, walking, they like more athletic hats.
They're hot.
They're very hot, yes. So thick cotton is not a great for, I mean, it's great if you're cutting down trees and fishing, yeah. That's it. It's nice.
Secretary McDonald.
I guess we've already got a motion and a second, but I just wanted to point out that in our conversations with the website designer, Ed Brakefield brought forward that some really interesting points, I thought, about the design, what's behind the design of the Pollyant Trail logo. And so I guess that said, particular care should be taken to try and get as much detail
Yeah.
when we use that.
It's a single color hat, it's a single
Yeah.
color on the logo, so we
So it'd
can't
be exactly
actually.
the same as the ones now?
Yeah,
Okay,
Um,
that's all right.
but when we go forward on the website, we'll try and bring up the graphics.
The problem with doing the graphics on the hat would
Yeah.
be your price would go way up.
Right.
Way up, and
Yeah, yeah.
so we have to bite the bullet.
Right, so
Keep terrible hats.
They're selling, right, Kent? Right?
they're selling.
They're selling.
Everybody loves them. I think Kevin has one.
Be careful.
Well, I know Bob. I know my husband has.
I have two.
There you go.
They're hot.
All right, Secretary McDonald, can you call a motion on this purchase request?
For approval of the purchase of $312.50, Jonathan Knoll,
Yes.
Mike McDonald, yes. Joe Madore.
Yes.
Ed Brakefield,
Yes?
Matt Pfeiffer,
Yes.
Aaron Watley,
Yes.
Curtis Wright.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, under our last agenda item, that is the purchase of no motor vehicle signs and stop signs. Go ahead, Trail Manager Moran.
All
Let's
right.
see what we'd like to do.
I would like to purchase some stop signs. I always have a supply of stop signs on hand because every spring we have a problem with our stop sign vandalism. They either steal them or deface them or something. So I did go to MSI, which is Michigan State Industries, the prison systems. They actually sell their signs to a contractor, and the contractor's cheaper than going directly to the prison systems. If I'm able to find seconds at MSI, they're cheaper, but they don't have any seconds right now, so I'm having to buy first runs. The first runs are sold to another company at a cheaper price. I'd like to go to the secondary company and buy them at a cheaper price. Same product, same manufacturer, it's just cheaper. I don't know how, probably both purchase. I think I have one possibly stop sign still available, but typically I go through about 4 to 5 stop signs a year. They just happen. Also the no motor vehicle signs, I've been informed, it doesn't matter, but whatever. We need to have our no motor vehicle signs posted at every road crossing, so laws can be enforced. It doesn't matter if they're on our map signs, under our rule and regulations. Technically, it's not enforceable if it's not on post on the trail. It says no motorized vehicles. Orion has them completely done. I did those complete last year. About 50% of all the road crossings from Indianwood north have no motorized vehicles, no hunting, no snowmobile, DNR signs put up. I'm very short on those signs. Those signs are ripped down all of the time, so I'm thinking if we get no motorized vehicles, that covers everything, put them on metal signs, put them up, we're done, until they get stolen again, or defaced. So I need I need signs.
So you say you need no more vehicle signs
No?
at each intersection, is that both sides?
Yes.
How can you do the whole trail with 10 signs?
Well, I have some Michigan Department of Natural Resources signs that I can utilize. And about 60 to 70% are already signed. So I just need a few to get,
Okay.
and to have on hand when those signs get lost.
Mhm.
Last year, I had somebody wrap a chain around one of my 4x4 posts and pull it right out of the ground. And left it, so I have the sign, but And you can see the indentation of the chain around that post.
And that company is Road Traffic Signs? Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay. So I did get there. All right, council, any questions for Trail Manager Moran, or you plan to move forward? Motion is in order.
Well, she needs the signs, there's no doubt, so I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion. I move to authorize the Pollyant Trail Manager, Linda Moran, to purchase 10 no motor vehicle signs at a cost of $289.90. Purchase 10 stop signs at a cost of $267.50 from Road Traffic Signs for a total cost of $557.40. This $557.40 amount to be expensed from, to account 298-853-932-000, maintenance of grounds.
Support.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Brakefield, second by Councilor Pfeiffer, to approve the sign purchase. Any further questions? Hearing none, Secretary McDonald, can you call the roll, please?
For the approval of the motion, Joe Madore,
Yes.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes.
Matt Pfeiffer,
Yes.
Aaron Watley,
Yes.
Curtis Wright.
Yes.
Jonathan Nolan,
Yes.
Mike McDonald, yes. Motion carries.
Okay, on to public comment. Any more public comment out there? All right, go ahead, Linda. That means you don't get your last say then.
Oh, we'll see.
Say it now. or-
So, Matt, thanks for coming to the council. It's gonna be a blast. And he's a friend of Joe Gwynn, so I'm just saying. Thanks, Kristen. She's an angel. She walks on water. And Nick, thanks for coming out. And I look forward to working with you. It'll be a blast.
Yeah.
And I want to remind everybody, the month of March is Pop Bottle, Recycling Bottle Return Month at the police garage in the village of Oxford for the Oxford Addison Youth Assistance and the Pollyant Trail fundraiser, 3rd year running.
Good drinking.
Keep drinking.
Yeah.
So drop off your bottles, drop off your recyclables at 22 West Burdick, the Oxford Addison Youth Assistance and Pollyant Trail will be picking them up daily, returning them. Last year, I think we were right at $5,000 we raised. So, half goes to us and half goes to the organization. And, it's a good group, so save your bottles. Yay.
All right, any more public comment? We're on public. Okay, we're going to start with council member comments, and we're going to start with Councilor Watley.
Well, first of all, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. Linda, great work. And I'm not going to say this because he's one of my board members at Orion, but we're going to be very lucky to have Matt on the committee. He's been very great to Orion Township as a businessman, but also as just supporting the community, not just Orion, but Oxford. So I do see him on the trail literally all the time, and his heart's in the right place. And so he'll be a great addition. So we're happy to have him.
Thank you.
Happy spring, everybody.
That's still fine.
Yeah, I think
Councilor
Matt's
Madore.
Yes, welcome, Matt, glad to have you. I have a question. I remember last year we were discussing and we had amended the dues amounts. I was trying to locate it.
Would you like a copy of that?
Yeah, so I when I do my budget amendment, that I can reference it, and I scanned through and I couldn't find where it was. I remember having the conversation.
$17,000.
Not for us, but somebody it sounds like. No, I'm just, if you could point me in the direction of where that was done and what time. I scanned some of the minutes, agendas. Again, I don't attend all the time.
It would be done during budget approval,
Okay.
so it would be in the budget as it was approved. We have a formula.
I don't know if anything more than my budget last year.
It's in the financial statements too in the packet.
Okay.
You can see the numbers.
Yes.
So the basis, I want to say is.
Well, we got our invoice. I think they've already paid it.
I think it was miles of trail and population.
Yes.
The factors of determining.
I just had I didn't have that amount in this current budget, and I'm getting ready to pay it, so I'm gonna be over that one line, so I just wanted to make an amendment, and I just wanted to reference something.
All right.
And I went back looking and couldn't find when it happened.
All right, so I'll get you what I think you need, and if you need more, we'll get you more.
Appreciate it.
Councilman Knoll?
If you'd like to have that made out special, we could come up with some numbers for you if you'd like.
I have the bill, I'm paying the bill. We're happy. I'm glad it's more, it helps me
Thank
with
you,
my
Matt.
impact. It helps me with my Act 51 monies, because I have set aside so much for non-motorized trails, and the previous amount didn't quite make it. So we had to find a way to spend other money, like in crosswalks or something like that, but now, even if it's just paid following trail dues, I know we're covered on that, and I don't have to worry about that. So I'm glad you raised it.
And Ed, we know you have some available time now, because you're off the website, so we're going to do that as well. This weather is turning, it's nice to see people on the trail. It's nice to have the support groups coming in and helping, whether it's picking up trash. And I think that I would say that if you need trash bags, you contact Linda. She has a wealth of resources that we would help you with your trash bag.
Awesome. Thank you.
Secretary McDonald?
Kevin, thank you for hanging in with us, because you have been a contributor. And so if you ever have a question, need help with it or whatever, don't hesitate to ask. I'm sure any one of us would try to help you. Matt, welcome.
Thank you.
As you can hear, we're an active and engaged organization. Once you get to know us, it probably won't help. And Kristen, major asset, not just to us, but to all the communities, especially that have things going on like trails. Thanks so much for your support, and welcome. Maybe we'll see you again next year. Things work out, eh?
Yeah.
But thank you. Thank everybody for pitching in.
Councilor Pfeiffer?
I'll follow up with the thank yous. Thank you for re-upping, that's awesome. Obviously, again, the more the community's involved, the better our communities are. And thank you to all of you for the gracious welcome, Aaron, for the pressure. I love our community. I was in Addison Township for a few years on Cherokee Court, so I'm a fan of Addison as well, and Oxford and all of it. But if I can ever be of any help, obviously, everyone, please don't hesitate to reach out. I wanted a hat, but I'm less inclined now. I like a lighter hat, less, comfortable. I look forward to the redesign. And if you tag me on any social media posts that you're doing, I do fairly well in social media or anything trail related that you guys want me to help get the word out on. I'm more than happy to do that, and your bottle drive came to mind. Thank you. It's awesome when I believe as a small business owner myself, it's our responsibility to give back to the communities and give us our livelihood, and what you're doing is a prime example of that, or what your company's doing. So please take thank you back from probably our whole board to your group, and thank you for helping to bring us some bacon. And thank you to you for sitting back there and filming. Anybody else? So thank you for all.
I think everything has already been said, so I same to everybody's comments, so I'm just repeating them all over time.
Okay, all right.
Very efficient.
Yeah, welcome again, Matt. Appreciate you taking your time to serve us, and hopefully it'll be really, really well received by you and by us. Kevin, stepping up again.
I'm probably not saying something that all of you don't know about, but I saw in the Oxford Leader the approval of funds for the safety trail. That's going to be continuation of the trail that's adjacent to Oxford High School, up to Ray Road and then out to Lapeer Road, which would be a welcome addition. Anytime we get more trails, that's a good thing. And that's a very busy area. Ride my bike along there a lot, so that'd be great. Don't have to worry about making my turn into Myers. It won't be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So
And as I know,
great to hear that.
the Safety Path Committee for Oxford, and we do have the funding to complete that loop. And it's not a loop, but that leg of the safety path. So depending on what the prices come in at, and we have roughly, between ARPA monies, federal monies, and other grant monies, probably $550,000 for the project, somewhere in that range. But Kevin, yeah, thank you for stepping up again for 2 years. Linda, appreciate you for stepping up as well, wanting to continue to serve. Kristen, you know that we definitely appreciate your time for getting out of the office and coming up here in Addison and helping us out. A few things too. For public comment, Nick, we couldn't comment back because it's a public comment period, but I'm going to comment and ask you some questions now. When did you anticipate coming out for the cleanup?
I'm sorry, one more, do you say
When
when?
did you anticipate coming out? for the
I
cleanup?
have 7.
So, okay.
Yep, I'm expecting 5,
Okay.
realistically.
It's just trash pickup?
Yeah, yep, just a little trash pickup, you know, we have 8 hours of volunteer time that like my company's gonna pay us to be out there. I doubt we'll do 8 hours. I mean, I will. I don't know about everyone else. And I probably won't drag it on that long for everyone else's sake.
Yeah. Well, if you're working with Linda, you'll get 8 hours in. Linda, what's up with the kiosks?
The kiosks, Jaden is working on it. He has to go to his leader, scout leader, get approval, get his program together, take it to the regional overseer, get it approved and signed up, then he's off to the races, so he's ready to go. So we should probably have something at the next meeting, because it takes a while to work the process, as we all know, to go to his leader, to get the program together, to do the paperwork, to have his regional manager person, I don't know, what do you call it, scoutmaster, the district scoutmaster approve it. So it'll probably be next month. Yeah, so looking forward to it. You know, we've got 4. If Oxford Village wants to buy, you know, I'm in.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, it's only a couple of quid. Jeez, cheap. I'll get you a hat.
You got the Rotary Park in line for their maintenance?
The Rotary Park, yes.
Okay.
We're going to come out like on Earth Day and do a program out there. I've got the rain barrels that are in storage right now. We won't put those out until later in the year when, you know, when the fear of frost is off. I have been toying with the idea of doing some mason bee hives out there. Yeah.
I make those all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I got a mason bee hive maker.
Yeah.
I got some designs. I was out at the Oakland County, the Van Hoosen farm in Rochester.
Rochester Hills?
Yeah, Rochester Hills. And they have a 5-foot mason bee complex that is absolutely fantastic. So I'm thinking maybe we need a few of those on the trail.
I'm only one of 8 members.
They're festive, still love them.
Okay, that's all the comments I have. Linda, any more before we adjourn?
No, I think that's it.
All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 4:23.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Brakefield, second to the motion. I'll second the motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:23. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.